Hey, it's Dan Kingsley with the Realty Edge team with your April Rochester Real Estate Market Report. Currently, there's about 138 sales that are pending in the overall market, leaving 210 listings still available for sale. What does that tell us? Well, that's the pending to sale ratio, and that's 39.7%. Okay, so compared to last month, which was 46%, that pending ratio is down. So what does that really tell us? Well, our market is described as like mildly active. We've got a lot of stuff that's kind of changing over, where we've got inventory building up a little more on the higher end because we've had a lot of stuff from previously that just came on the market, went on as a first-time home buyer home. Those are all now pending, so those people that are buying from those homes are kind of moving up to the next one, and those sellers at those price ranges know that too. So now they're putting their house on the market, and now we're going to have this secondary term of first-time home buyers getting their first home, those people selling, buying up to the next one, those people selling and probably buying up to the next one, and that's going to be either late summer, well, I should say late spring or early fall. Typically, this is probably one of those years where the June time frame is going to be a little bit slower. We'll see things that are on the market, but they'll all be pending, and the new ones will probably be coming on at the end of June, and that's going to be that secondary tier of what's coming on where people sold it in the beginning in the spring, and now they're still looking to buy, and or they are on their second hurrah. Maybe they just took June off for kids and vacation and stuff like that. So what we can kind of also see is the price ranges are going up a bit. So we initially saw that a lot of the stuff that was coming on, we were building up that inventory between 3 and 4. And then as we kind of went on now, that stuff has been, the 200s on the beginning side of things have gone pending really quick. As they came on, they went pending right away. Those 300s to 400s that came on earlier are now going to start going pending because, again, those, like I said, the buyers are going to be moving from those up really quick. So we've got a movement that a lot of the price ranges are moving up. Median price points are up. We can kind of take a look at the graph here, but we still have this higher price range, the 1.2 to 1.4 million. The luxury is still the fastest over the last 6 months. That is still selling the quickest. So that is still on the upper tier of our market. Last 30 days, the median sold price first days on market was about 30 days on market, and the price was about 336,700 is what the math is. So days on market is somewhat getting a little bit less on the 3 to 400s, and also very short on the 2 to 300s. So, but a lot of that inventory is being bought up, and so it's going away. One of the other things I want to point out is we are still in a seller's market. So the median sale to list ratio is still at about 100%. Depending on the price points you're at, and I'll pull the graph up here so you can take that, but the majority is right around that. We've got some that maybe are just at 99%. List to sale ratio, meaning again, that is the price that it gets set at and it lists at, and then what is the price that it sells at. So sellers are typically getting what they're listing the property at. There's a couple little gaps that starts to happen around that $8 to $1 million range, that it's about 97% list to sell ratio, but everything else is about 100 or 99.5 or 99.9%. You start to jump up into 1.2 and above, and then we've got a bigger jump, and that starts to go to 102 to 105%. That a lot of times is, people are building these nicer model homes and or a custom home, and then putting the add-on. So it's a list price, and then they're finishing off the basement, maybe adding a pool in the back or some additional pieces to the puzzle, meaning like wet bar, upgrades to exterior sheds, shacks, she sheds, whatever it is, or building on an addition to the back to get some more square footage. One of the things I want to point out versus last month and this month is, we had the influx of supply and demand, and a lot of our supply was that 3 to 400, and now what we look at is a lot of the stuff on the front end had come on and sold, the 2 to 300s. So we had a lot that are under contract right around that price point, and that all happened within a month. And So now it like shifts quickly. So our meeting of supply and demand is right around that 300. So at the beginning we had an influx of 300 to 400. A lot of those that were on didn't sell, but in that interim we had all these 200s to 300s sneak in, come on the market, go pending, and now they're all pending, and now those people are buying the 300 to 400. So we've got a better match for the average days on market, the average sales price at like 337, and then the average demand. So that's a good thing. So it's kind of like balancing out a little bit. So we're getting reduced inventory at that 3 to 4. 400 and above, we still have a little bit of inventory, but as these start to sell, we'll start to see those buyers kind of moving up into that price range too. So something to kind of keep in mind, but it's kind of a typical nice market for Rochester. It's not overly crazy. We still have a lot of demand, so there is still multiple offers that are happening currently. It's just not quite as crazy as it used to be. So it's getting closer to less hectic. It's not quite balanced yet, so it is definitely active. Also want to talk about rates quick. So VA rates are really, really low. They've dropped down below 6.5, which is awesome for veterans or active duty. Now, the rest kind of have been fluctuating quite a bit. We are seeing a lot of stuff just below 6.5% with the mortgage brokers. Most of the bigger banks are sticking right at that 6.5%, but there's some stuff that's fluctuating from week to week between 6.5 and 6.25, 6.3, somewhere in there. So it does kind of depend. And we do have some turbulence with the markets right now, but interest rates aren't necessarily tied to that. There is some that is being affected by it, but it's something to think about. So if you want to think about real estate as an investment, it's probably a lot more solid in this town than most cities in the United States of America. That's Dan Kingsley with the Realty Edge team for your market update for Rochester. If you have any other questions, check out the link below to our website. You can get a specific one for your neighborhood. Doesn't have to be in the city of Rochester. It can be one of our outside cities that surround the city, any part of southeastern Minnesota. All you gotta do is put a request in there and we can get you one for your neighborhood, your subdivision, and specifically your house. It's free and we'd love to help you out. Again, Dan Kingsley with the Realty Edge team. Take care.